So I just want to share a little bit about my story and what God has shown me through some crazy hard things during this time of year, in hopes that it would encourage you and help you to know that you're not alone, and that He is listening, and that there are others out there experiencing the same thing, and not everybody is putting on a happy face. So I have dealt with the grief piece for quite a while. I lost my mom unexpectedly in a car accident, and this was before my kids were born, and it's been, that process of just me missing her and grieving her during the holidays. Then it's went through this process of having the kids, and them never knowing her, and there's a sweetness to the way that we still try to include her, pieces of her life within this time. I've always tried to be intentional about talking about her, and letting her know things so that they can feel that they kind of have an idea who she is. But it's still sad. It's very sad, and so that part's very hard. Some years are harder than others. Some years I think I'll be fine, and then it'll just hit me. It is. And for anybody that has lost a loved one, this time of year is tough, and I just want you to know that I'm praying for you, and of course available, and have resources available as well to try to help you and encourage you in that. Got something going on, some kind of motor in the background. But what has really changed my whole outlook, I guess, on life, and on especially this time of year, was something that we went through maybe 4 years ago now. And I was pregnant with my little girl, our youngest, and she was due in January. And starting 2 weeks before Thanksgiving, I started to get sick. And first it was, I thought it was a bad cold, and then they said bronchitis, and then they were talking pneumonia, and I just kept getting worse and worse. I went to the walk-in clinic 3 times, and I went to the emergency room twice. Then they said it was pleurisy, and I was having just crazy pain. I can't really explain the pain from the coughing that was going on in my side. And I just kept listening to what they were saying and just kept pushing through. And it ended up being the week before Christmas. No, it was about a week and a half before Christmas. And I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I couldn't breathe. And I know I can be stubborn, and I can have a tendency to take things on that I shouldn't. But everybody was sleeping, and I didn't want to I thought, well, it's either going to be call the ambulance because I can't breathe, or it's going to be try to get myself the couple miles. It was like 3 miles down the road to the hospital by myself. Because by the time that I would wake everybody up, and my husband would get everybody, ready to go and take me to the hospital, I just couldn't fathom. I knew something needed to be done right away. And so instead of calling the ambulance like I should have, I decided to drive myself, which now I know is incredibly foolish. So, but anyways, I drove myself to the hospital, and as I was sitting at a stoplight, I could see in the distance the hospital, and I didn't think that I could go on another second longer. And my prayer was, at that moment, I just said, sorry. At that moment, I just said, God, it's you and me, and I need you to get me there. And He did. He got me to the emergency. I don't even remember what happened. I mean, it's not like I parked I just pulled up right in front myself, and barely made it in. And after all of this, month and a half of sickness before, and all the things that they were talking about, ended up finding out that it was a pulmonary embolism in my lung. So I had a blood clot, and if I hadn't come in right when I did, then I wouldn't have made it, and neither likely would have my daughter. And so I spent that week and a half before Christmas in the hospital, and they were able to get things under control enough to where I was able to go home the day before Christmas Eve. And it was a season where, because I had been so sick and because of everything that had been happening and then being in the hospital, I mean, I had no presents. I mean, this was, well, not like I'm a way ahead shopper anyways, but the month and a half or 2 months before Christmas is usually when people are doing a lot of their shopping, and that wasn't done. There was no decorations. There was, we usually would travel up out of state for family, all of that. But I came home, and that's all that mattered. Sorry. I got to spend Christmas in our little apartment. We had a little 800 square foot apartment with 7, or no, not 7, because we're 7 now, 6 people. And my other kiddos were there, my husband was there, and we were incredibly blessed by family and friends, family that sent things and friends that had showed up, and we just had each other, and it was the sweetest Christmas that I had ever had, because I not only realized that I was thanking God for the gift of eternal life through his son, and I had grasped obviously that before then, but I was also thanking him for my life and all the blessings that he had given me that didn't look, maybe on the outside like blessings, but I was there, and I was still pregnant, and I was with my kiddos, and that's really all that mattered. I mean, it was an amazing time and a good reminder. And once you go through something that I mean, I looked in the eyes of so many doctors during that week and a half when I was in the hospital, and you can tell a lot by someone's eyes, right? And I just will never forget that look, and I'll never forget how many times they had said that, you're just so lucky that you were here at the right time. Do you know how lucky you are? Oh, it was the talk of the the unit, just how much, and I knew that it was God that worked this miracle, that I was still there and my baby girl was still there, but maybe a lot of them didn't. But he also did bless me with nurses that were there, that came in the middle of the night, and that were able to talk to me about him and his word, and it was crazy the way that he set everything up. So I just wanted to share that with you in hopes that that even though, hopefully you never have to go through anything where you see that look or know that feeling, but I will say that I will never let that go. I look back on that obviously every year, and it changed I think everything going forward. Everything was sweeter. I was more thankful for just the small things. It just shifted a lot in my perspective, and so I wish that I didn't have to go through that in order to experience that, but I'm thankful for it. I'm so thankful for it because it's much sweeter. So I just want to encourage you that if you are going through something crazy right now, or that you're going through a really hard time, or harder things, I have a sweet friend that's going through crazy harder things than that right now, sickness wise, but a lot similar, and it's all part of his plan, no matter how hard it can be at the time. And I know that we know that, but he is so faithful. He is there. He will never ever leave your side. And so I just want to remind you, going into this Christmas, to be looking for those things that maybe you didn't notice before. Just try to pray and ask him to show you these little things that are big things in your life, and things that he wants to show you and teach you. Stay focused on Christ this Christmas. There's nothing better. I've been continually, we always tried to do that before him, but it took a whole new took on a whole new look after this. And so I really just want to encourage you to stay focused, stay in His Word. Don't set that aside for all the busyness of the season. There's nothing better that you could be doing with your time than spending your time in His Word. So yeah, anyways, just wanted to share that with you in hopes that it would encourage you, and I'm always available. And I will also share some resources. I did write a post that is a very brief summary, but it's a letter to the mom who can't afford Christmas gifts, and just our little glimpses of how God showed up in crazy ways during this time to bless us financially, that when we were just completely out. So I want to share that with you as well, because I know that's another big struggle. But if you're struggling this season, you are not alone. I am praying for you, and I'm here if you need anything. Please let us know.